Hey there. If you're wondering whether the dark night of the soul might just be your nervous system saying, I beg you, slow down. Welcome to the club. We're the founding members. Our membership card? Several well-worn passports full of retreat stamps and a nervous system screaming for mercy. Full disclosure, we're also recovering retreat collectors. Been there. Done that. We cried through 3-day breathwork retreats back-to-back, chasing that emotional purge like it was the Holy Grail. And let us tell you, the crash that followed? Like a spiritual hangover that no amount of sage could fix. We've binged so hard on awakening. And ran ourselves into the ground. Chasing the next big spiritual breakthrough while our bodies quietly screamed, enough. Raise your hand if you've ever been addicted to that post-ceremony emotional high. Yeah, us too. Those eye-gazing moments. Group hugs. Friends forever vibe with people you just met some days before. Only to never meet most of them again after the initial few weeks of WhatsApp group honeymoon chatting. Then meeting new ones and healing more. It's like chasing your tail in a cosmic hamster wheel. Exhilarating. Exhausting. And ultimately, kind of pointless. We used to think that we broke the matrix. And claimed how the structure was boring, but turns out, it's the secret sauce. And yes, it took us way too many retreats and detoxes to finally admit it. But hey, we did awaken. To all the BS that the modern spiritual world actually is. Where so many gurus have no idea what they are doing. And how this affects your nervous system. But they tell you to push harder. Spoiler. Too much healing can leave you feeling worse than you've ever felt before. Welcome back to Chakra Capitalism. The only channel where we lovingly dissect the spiritual industrial complex. While sipping the ceremonial cacao. A.K.A. overpriced hot chocolate. Today we are discussing the famous dark night of the soul. Or shall we call it a spiritual burnout? Yes, that feeling when you've cried out your inner child. Channeled 12 lifetimes. Balanced karma with your ex. Cut cords. Puked. Chanted. And now, you can't get out of bed. You might think you're ascending. But maybe. Just maybe. You're cooked. Let's zoom in a bit. You've probably heard you have something that's called an autonomous nervous system. You know, sympathetic, parasympathetic, antipathic. That stuff. Let's talk about it for a second. Because despite what your favorite healing influencer says, your body doesn't give a good goddamn about the good vibes and cosmic frequencies. So, your nervous system has 3 main gears. The first one is called ventral vagal. This is your safe and social mode. It's the cozy coffee shop where you can feel connected, grounded, regulated. A safe hug. A warm smile. Secondly, we have the sympathetic one. This is fight or flight. It makes you ready to run from a tiger. Hold a boundary. Or assertively say get off my back. That's the one, thanks to which you can do all your catharsis. Or cannot anymore? Last but not the least is the dorsal vagal. This is the shutdown mode. Rest and digest. When your body sees that the sympathetic nervous system can't anymore. Dorsal vagal kicks in. So now, you are offline. Depressed. Disconnected. Staring at your Himalayan salt lamp like it betrayed you. Now here's the kicker. Catharsis, those big emotional releases. Sobbing. Screaming. Breathwork until your hands look like crab claws. Even the excess traveling. The constant new and unknown. All stimulate your sympathetic system. Which is fine. Occasionally. But if you're constantly processing trauma and doing the shadow work. Going from one somatic activation to another like it's CrossFit for the soul. Eventually, your body hits the wall. And boom. Dorsal vagal takes over. Let's name it, spiritual burnout is real. It's when awakening becomes overwhelm. When alignment feels like apathy. When your soul feels tired. And no amount of Palo Santo can smoke the dread out. You might be crying all the time but feeling numb. Doing inner child work but losing your adult identity. Channeling galactic downloads but can't reply to your sister. The modern gurus love calling it post-awakening depression. But it might just be overstimulation fatigue. That's the nervous system part. Now let's take it a step further. In the spiritual scene, your ego is the villain. So naturally, we try to kill it. Burn it. Dismantle it. Smash it with gongs and mushrooms. And ayahuasca in a Peruvian jungle led by someone named White Jaguar David. But here's the secret. Your ego is not the enemy. It's your operating system. You need it to brush your teeth, make yourself breakfast, and say no to sketchy retreats and online purpose activations by a coach who moved to Bali. When we constantly dissolve our identity through endless shadow work, we lose structure. And guess what your nervous system hates most? That's right. Lack of structure. So while you're busy shedding layers and becoming no one, your body is screaming, "Excuse me, who's driving this meat suit?" Here's the uncomfortable truth. Catharsis addiction is real. It's the new spiritual drug. Healing can become a high. That deep release from a breathwork session? That feeling of emotional purging? Want to know what that is? It's dopamine. It's endorphins. It's nervous system fireworks. Your body thinks you are in danger, so it induces a little cocktail of hormones that will help you run faster from the tiger. And like any high, it wears off. So what do we do then? We chase it. Just like we do with any drug. More ceremonies. More Kundalini activations. More cosmic downloads. More crying on yoga mats in high energy places. We mistake constant emotional intensity for depth. We know. Real healing can be really boring. And fairly hard. Sometimes unbearable. Much harder than booking a flight and packing for Tulum or Ibiza. And we hate to be the ones to tell you this, but real healing. It's structure. It's discipline. It's going for a walk. Feeding yourself nutritious meals. Paying your taxes on time. Building relationships with people who know how to show up in their non-performative vulnerability. And just be there. It's earning, saving and investing your money. Doing all that grounded stuff so your future self can live a safe and fulfilled life. Let's be clear. Yes, trauma is real. Yes, healing is necessary. But integration is the part most people skip. And no, inhaling air with someone who calls themselves a breathwork coach probably isn't it. Let's put it this way. If your nervous system is a battery, catharsis, aka sympathetic stimulation drains it. Then dorsal vagal takes you into deep rest and dissociation. That's why the burnout. To stop you from making more mess. And then the ventral vagal is the one that really recharges the battery. We do get glimpses of it in group settings. Remember the eye gazing? Hugs all day long. There's something in it. But is it healing, or are you just paying premium prices for hugs? So how do we get back into the ventral vagal state? Well, first we rest and reset. And that will sometimes take way longer than we think because we pushed far further than we should. And while we do so, we learn the following 3 unsexy ways that are also the most powerful ones. 1. Routine. Seriously. Eat at the same time. And stick to the few nutrient-dense ingredients. Sleep regularly. Your nervous system is kinky for consistency. 2. Co-regulation. Not with your coach. Not with your witch. Not with your higher self, the Dalai Lama or your moon sisters and brothers. With real, boring humans. Friends. Pets. Neighbors. And sure, some of the spiritual sisters in recovery as well. 'Cause after all, they probably get it better than anyone. 3. Joy. Not spiritual joy. Not the ecstatic bliss. Silly joy. Dance badly. Eat some gelato. Watch dumb movies. Call your real sister. Or cousin. Make your mom laugh. Ask a cashier how their day is going. It sounds cliche, but man, it is powerful. Joy is medicine. Let's zoom out now. Again, we hate to be the ones to tell you this. But maybe your dark night of the soul isn't cosmic. Maybe it's a nervous system shutdown. Maybe your soul isn't broken, just overstimulated. So So if you've been trying to become your highest self but can't get out of sweatpants, doing the work, and then doing more work on why the work isn't working, losing your sense of humor and a will to live, we have some bad news for your spiritual ego and some good ones for your soul. You're just fried. And you're guessing. The cure isn't another course, another guru, another retreat. The cure is doing less. Returning to your body. Not to torture it more, but to give it some rest. Stabilizing your system. Maybe actually hiring a real therapist who isn't trauma-informed, but trauma-educated. Because spiritual growth isn't measured by how often you cry on a yoga mat. It's measured by how safe you feel in your body. And no one ever felt safe when running from a tiger over and over again. You don't need another cosmic activation. You need a nap. Now should you never do another retreat in your life? You sure can, but take it as a party and gathering with your fellow veterans rather than a healing that isn't healing anyone. This is chakra capitalism, reminding you to think critically. And that your nervous system is not your enemy. If it's said enough, listen. It's your oracle. Subscribe, share with your burnout soul family. And go drink some water. We'll be here, integrating, and sharing it all with you. Subscribe for more topics from your recovering spiritual junkie friends. More coming soon. Stay tuned.